There's a profound truth that Carl Jung once revealed to the world. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But what he didn't say is this: some of us have become so skilled at accepting others completely that we've forgotten how to accept ourselves at all. If you've ever smiled while your heart was breaking, if you've ever said, "I'm fine," when you were drowning inside, if you've ever been the shoulder everyone cries on but had no one to cry to yourself, then this message is for you. You see, there's a silent epidemic happening right now. It's not making headlines, it's not trending on social media, but it's consuming millions of souls around the world. It's the epidemic of the emotionally strong, those who carry everyone's burdens but their own, who heal everyone's wounds while their own remain hidden and untreated. Stick with me for the next 12 minutes, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why your greatest strength might actually be your most dangerous weakness, and more importantly, how to transform it into your greatest power. Let me paint you a picture. It's 2 a.m. and somewhere in the world someone is lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. Their phone is full of messages from friends thanking them for their advice, their support, their endless availability. But this person, they're completely alone with thoughts that feel too heavy to carry. This is the reality of what researchers now call silent suffering syndrome. According to recent studies published in the National Institutes of Health, chronic people pleasers show heightened levels of neuroticism, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion that can lead to serious mental health disorders. But here's what's truly heartbreaking. These are often the same people who appear to have it all together. They're the ones with bright smiles, the ones who remember your birthday, the ones who drop everything when you need them. They've built an invisible armor so strong that even they forget they're wearing it. As the ancient philosopher Epictetus once said, wealth consists in not having great possessions, but in having few wants. But for the emotionally strong, their wealth consists in giving endlessly while wanting nothing in return, a beautiful ideal that slowly becomes a prison of their own making. Strong people suffer alone at night, not because they want to, but because they've trained themselves to believe that their pain matters less than everyone else's comfort. They smile during the day because they've learned that their role in this world is to be the light that guides others through darkness, even when they can't find their way out of their own. Now let's talk about something that might hit close to home, the half-truth phenomenon. You know exactly what I mean, don't you? When someone asks how you're doing and you tell them only half the truth. Work's been busy, but I'm managing. What you don't say is that you've been working 12-hour days because staying busy is the only way to avoid the crushing loneliness waiting for you at home. When your friends ask about your relationship status, you say, "I'm focusing on myself right now." What you don't say is that you're terrified of letting someone see the real you, the you that worries, that doubts, that sometimes cries in the shower because that's the only place you feel safe to let your guard down. And with your parents, you tell them nothing. Nothing about the anxiety that keeps you awake. Nothing about the relationship that ended because you gave too much of yourself away. Nothing about the promotion you didn't get because you spent too much time helping your coworkers instead of advocating for yourself. Carl Jung had another powerful insight. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But what happens when you're so busy understanding everyone else that you lose touch with your own irritations, your own needs, your own truth? Behind every "I'm okay," behind every "I understand," there's a person who has become fluent in the language of everyone else's emotions but forgotten how to speak their own. They've become emotional translators, constantly interpreting and responding to others' feelings while their own remain untranslated, unspoken, unheard. Research from Harvard-trained psychologists reveals something fascinating and tragic about people pleasers. They're at the highest risk for burnout, not because they work too hard, but because they love too hard. You see, there's a cruel irony in being the person who understands everyone. You become a repository for others' pain, others' secrets, others' dreams, but who becomes the repository for yours? These beautiful souls bottle up their emotions not out of weakness, but out of strength. They've witnessed so much pain in others that they can't bear to add their own to the world's already overwhelming burden. They wish someone would acknowledge their efforts, but they've trained everyone around them to see their support as unlimited and unconditional. As Plato once said, empathy is the highest form of human knowledge. But here's what Plato couldn't have predicted. In our modern world, empathy can become a form of self-destruction when it's not balanced with self-compassion. They don't know how to express their feelings because they've spent so long being the safe space for others that they've forgotten how to create a safe space for themselves. They get too attached, too soft-hearted, because in a world that often feels cold and disconnected, they've chosen to be the warmth that others seek. And yes, they constantly worry about hurting others, but in their noble effort to protect everyone else from pain, they've inadvertently become experts at inflicting pain upon themselves. Every boundary they don't set, every yes they give when they want to say no, every smile they wear when they want to cry, it all accumulates into a debt that their heart can no longer afford to pay. Now we come to the most heartbreaking part of this story, the cycle that keeps repeating itself despite all evidence that it's destroying them. They would do anything just to make others happy, even if it means getting hurt by the same thing over and over again. It's not masochism, it's hope. It's the beautiful, naive, absolutely devastating hope that this time will be different, that this time their love will be reciprocated, that this time their efforts will be appreciated, that this time someone will love them back with the same intensity they love others. But here's what recent psychological research has revealed. This pattern doesn't just hurt them emotionally, it actually rewires their brain. The constant flood of stress hormones from chronic people-pleasing creates what scientists call compassion fatigue, where the very mechanism that makes them so loving begins to work against them. Yet they still try, every single day. They wake up and choose hope over experience, love over self-protection, giving over receiving. They're hoping to be loved the right way, not for what they can do or provide, but for who they are when all the doing stops. But here's the tragic truth that no one talks about. Sometimes we make the mistake of being so understanding and forgiving that we overlook the fact that we're being used or disrespected. We mistake being needed for being valued. We confuse being useful with being loved. As the unknown philosopher once said, the only people who get upset about you setting boundaries are the ones who are benefiting from you having none. And isn't that a revelation that cuts straight to the bone? But here's where our story takes a turn, because recognition is the first step toward transformation. There comes a moment, maybe it's right now as you're watching this, when you realize, I am done looking for love where it doesn't exist. I am done coughing up dust in attempts to drink from dry wells. This isn't about becoming cold or closed off. This isn't about abandoning your beautiful, empathetic nature. This is about what Carl Jung called individuation, the process of integrating your shadow self, the parts of you that you've hidden away because they didn't serve others' comfort. Your shadow isn't your darkness, it's your self-respect. It's your boundaries. It's your ability to say, I matter too. It's your right to take up space, to have needs, to expect reciprocity in your relationships. The strongest people are not those who carry everyone else's burdens without complaint. The strongest people are those who recognize when they're carrying more than their share and have the courage to set it down. Love yourself enough to set boundaries. As Anna Taylor wisely said, your time and energy are precious. They're not infinite resources to be distributed freely to anyone who asks. They're sacred gifts that deserve to be honored and protected. When you start honoring your own boundaries, something magical happens. The people who truly love you will respect them, and the people who don't, well, they'll reveal themselves for who they really are. So here's my challenge to you. For the next week, practice saying one small truth about yourself every day. Not a half-truth, not a filtered version, a real truth about how you feel, what you need, what you want. Start small. Actually, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed today. I need some time to think about that before I commit. That hurt my feelings and I'd like to talk about it. Your voice matters. Your feelings matter. Your needs matter. You matter not just for what you give to others, but for who you are when you're not giving anything at all. If you've watched this video this far, drop 100 points in the comments to show you're part of the 1% who finish what they start. And more importantly, who are ready to start finishing the journey toward loving themselves as fiercely as they love others. Because the world doesn't need you to be smaller so others can feel bigger. The world needs you to be whole.